Wonderful. A huge round of applause. Our esteemed panelists shared their expertise and were really enlightening in every aspect of that conversation. Time to move on then, and we've got a fireside chat lined up where we will be talking about coding to unicorn, the entrepreneurial journey. We have with us today Akhil Gupta, who's a co-founder and chief technology and product officer of No Broker. Now, he founded this company in the year 2014 after working with Oracle for a few years. A coder by heart, it seems, Akhil single-handedly wrote the code and managed the No Broker platform during the bootstrapping days. In conversation with Akhil will be Shantanu Rastogi, an IITB alumni and managing director of General Atlantic, a global private equity fund providing growth capital, as we all know. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Akhil Gupta as well as Shantanu Rastogi walking us through this interesting fireside conversation.
Yeah, it's working now. Okay. So, Akhil, before we start, should we just do a quick check on who the audience is? And
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's
So, do we have entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs? Okay, quite a few. Students? All right. Okay, great. So we have a lot of students and aspiring entrepreneurs amongst us. So maybe we start, Akhil, with a quick introduction. Why don't you go first?
Yeah. So I'm Akhil Gupta. I did my engineering from IIT Bombay, 2000 to 2005. So dual degree, and Shantanu was my senior. Like he ragged us when we were in H3. So we were like right next opposite wing, and we always looked up to Shantanu because when we entered, I think you were in fourth year. By the time we went to Sophie year, he was passing out, and he was a person to look up to. So yeah. So IIT, I think IIT. I'm a chemical engineer. Didn't know anything about coding until I passed out from IIT Bombay, and so I'll take 2 minutes maybe on this part.
Of course.
So the way it happened was I'm from a town or a city called Kota in Rajasthan, and it's not that I went there to be part of IIT. I'm born and brought up there, and I was fortunate enough to know about IIT. I in '97. Until then, I had no idea what exactly is IIT. What exactly? So I used to know about only PMT, CPMT, PET, and somebody told that the way CPMT is there, where there is a central colleges, there is something called IIT, and that fascinated. And it was like this from younger years. It has been like this. If anything, which is very very challenging, and if you can go up and achieve that particular thing, it used to excite us. So somebody told that's something which you should do, and once you do that, your life will change. So I said, okay, let's do that particular thing, and it started from a small entrance test at Bansal classes, which was like phenomenal classes there, where they had 1,000 students or 800 students appearing for the test, and they selected 65. So people used to say, if you are selected there, that means you have cracked IIT. So that's how it started. Work there, came to IIT, and when I got selected, so I got 991 rank, which itself was good or not bad. One thing which I always wanted to do was I wanted to come to the bigger city. So one thing was either it will be IIT Bombay or IIT Delhi, and and that's why I took a dual degree course, because dual degree course, I think Shantanu, you were also dual degree, and not many people used to take it. They used to say, when you can get the degree in 4 years, why exactly you should spend 5 years at IIT? But I said I have to be at IIT Bombay, dual degree chemical engineering. Initial year, I was extremely nervous that why have I done this? Because out of 66 students, we are only 19 or 14 who will be in dual degree. All these guys will leave after 4 years. What exactly I will do? But IIT has changed the life. When we came to the hostel, and it was never about your batch. It was all about the people whom you are meeting, people like Shantanu, my co-founder Saurabh, who is his junior, my senior. He was my next door at neighbor at IIT Bombay. And then if you talk about what I could have done way back before at IIT, I might have not been sitting here talking to you guys like this, telling what exactly has been the journey about. Never had a confidence to speak on a stage. But then IIT transformed the life, and here we are talking about what we have achieved.
That's a fantastic introduction. Very few IITians are tell their All India rank in the introduction. Akhil chose to do that. Has, as you can see, all the qualities of a great leader. Fully transparent, not holding anything back, just saying, as his heart is telling him. So, Akhil, what after IIT? So, after your 5 years, what did you decide to do, and how did you decide to do what you did?
So at IIT, so we were in hostel 3, and thing was, I always loved doing something which can change, basically which can bring some kind of a smile on the face of the people. So like at IIT, we do a lot of stuff. Like it starts from the fate, what we used to do at IIT, hostel 3, we used to call it HTTP, to PAFs, to socials, to GCs and all those things. And I always used to be on the setting up part of it. So I'm not so like Shantanu will be on the drum side, he'll be acting and he'll be directing the PAF, and we will be the one who will be cutting the bamboos and setting up the prod so that these guys can go and act. So that was something which I liked, and it was always exciting for me. So what I thought when I was IIT was that I'll get into some general management kind of a thing. And one thing which we do at IIT when we build our resumes is that led a 3-tier team of 450 people managing this particular thing. I was general secretary of my hostel, so I also wrote that particular thing. I thought that is the path which I'll have. And when the placement came that year, my ambition was I'll be into company like Transocean, Slum, because I have built my profile like that. None of those companies visited to the campus. So then I thought, okay, maybe I'll do MBA. I started preparing for CAT. And one day Oracle was visiting the campus, and they never used to hire non-computer science guy before that particular year. They opened up. Just because they opened up, I went there and wrote a test. Obviously, aptitude test I could clear. Then they called for interviews. It was a Sunday, and I had a test in IMS, which was a coaching for CAT. So I said I'll go for IMS mock test because I am no way going to crack this interview. A couple of my wingmates juniors. So that wing culture is extremely, extremely strong at IIT. Like it's not about senior and juniors, it's like family. So there were 2 guys, Love and Raj, all India rank 4 and 5 I guess. बोले अखिल आप जाओ. मैंने कहा नहीं यार मैं आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू क्रैक इट. बोले हम आपको पढ़ा देते हैं. मैं कहा चलो ठीक है, मुझे पता है लिंक लिस्ट स्टैक वगैरह ये सब होता है, मैं पढ़ा दो. तो उन्होंने 15 मिनट पढ़ाया. आई वेंट फॉर द टेस्ट इंटरव्यू. These guys asked me to write a code. I said, see, I can't write a code. I can give you the algorithm, okay? And I can learn coding. Coding is nothing big, correct? Because we have never been exposed to it. Fortran was the only thing which we learned. These guys happily agreed. Then they had again some 5-7 round of interviews, and they selected. And that became like a changing moment. I said, okay, I cracked the job which in chemical engineering nobody else would have cracked in the past. And they offered very good salary. It was like A1, A0 kind of a job. So I said, okay, let's go to, I'll do software engineering. And my twin brother, who was from IIT Bombay a year before he passed, he was in Bangalore. So Oracle, I said, I'll not join Hyderabad, I'll join Bangalore. Please put me in Bangalore, otherwise I'm joining elsewhere. I didn't have any offer. They said, okay, this guy will lose this guy, so they put me in Bangalore. And that's how my journey started of coding. And then next 4.5 years was all about learning what is happening, because for me it was like I was starting maybe 5-7 years behind anybody else which was there. So next 5 years was all about sitting down, learning and building and coding.
So in that story, there are clear 3 traits. I think if Samir, my friend Samir here, a venture capitalist was watching Akhil, he would say he's got 3 great traits which could tell us that he'll be an entrepreneur one day. One, he decided to negotiate and bluff the employer that, so good negotiation tactics. You got to negotiate all the time. 2, he went and told the truth to the employer that, listen, I can't code, but I can learn it quickly. And of course, that's a great trait of of many IITians and many of you sitting here that you can learn things quickly. But he didn't try to overachieve or over prepare for that interview. We went and told him, this is what I know, but I can get the job done if you bring me in. And the third is probably not a trade or entrepreneur, but the reality of life, that a lot of things that happen to us are out of serendipity. So someone who was about to write an IMS test, was convinced by his wingmates, ki jao, interview karke aa jao. And, that's how he ended up in Oracle, versus going, to business school. So, a lot of good, interesting learnings. I must say, for a guy who said that I don't know how to code on that day, today, since I know a little bit about No Broker, Akhil must be among the top few AI architects, AI engineers in the country, because what they've created in convozen.ai, which is a very interesting thing that a lot of you should look up. And I'll let him talk more about it. I think it's one of the world-class best AI products coming out of India today. So, and so he did.
Thank you.
He did pick up coding, as you can see, as he told the Oracle guys. So Akhil, after the years at Oracle, I know that you were doing very well there. Why suddenly take a break and leave an A1 job, being in Bangalore, and suddenly instead of going to, a lot of people would do that and then say, chalo ab IIM kar lete hain, ab MBA kar lete hain.
That was the
So tell us, how did you break into being an entrepreneur, and most importantly, how did your family react when you told them that?
So I think this was way back in 2010. So after 5 years at Oracle, typically it happens, and it happens with a lot of people in our company also. आप 4-5 साल जगह रहते हो ना, and then if you don't change the job, people think that you are not capable enough, correct? Because people around you are changing jobs, they would have hopped couple of jobs. So in my circle also, people were moving around. Somebody was going to Google, Microsoft. Although I was enjoying what I was doing, and one day it struck me, people should not think that I am not capable enough to do this particular thing. And then I told my boss that, and he had played a critical role in shaping up what I have done. I said, I'm quitting. And he said, where exactly you are going? I said, I don't know where exactly I'm going, but I will not be at Oracle now. And then I joined a small startup where my brother used to work. And I think that was the time when I realized that what I was doing at Oracle was phenomenal, because I didn't have a lot of understanding of what exactly computer science is, because I was learning in those 4-5 years. But what I can do using technology and using internet, that is much more than what I have achieved till now. Because in Oracle, I was like a small cog in a wheel. I used to build something which used to go out, released after 12 months. After 12 months, you realize that it has not been liked by the market because we were building a B2B product. So it used to be little disheartening, because I have been to US to give sales immersion training to sales guys. And that's when I learned that product is not something which you should be building. I should not decide what and how business should function. And we need to understand that there is a problem which we need to solve, and accordingly we need to build the product. Because that is a very, very blatant feedback which I got back in 2008 when we built something and I was presenting in SFO. And these sales guys said, okay, we'll not use it, because this is the basic thing which is missing on that particular part. And then I joined that small startup. The vibe and culture was different. Was again enjoying a lot of work there. After 2 years, one day they said, we are wrapping up from India because our PE fund has said that consolidate, but we will want you guys to move to US. And I'm extremely, extremely homesick, like living in Bombay 5 years and Bangalore. Even if given a chance, I can go back to my hometown. So I said, one thing which I'm doing is not going to US, because then I'll be far from family and friends. And that's when I decided, I called my Oracle guys and I said, okay, I'll join back. And they gave me a leadership role where I could take care of business and product development. The day I landed in Oracle back, it was extremely disheartening, because whole of the office was grey, which I didn't realize. And if you see GCCs and MNCs, the way it works is that primarily work happens during the US work hours. In India, not much of the innovation is happening. I felt so depressed that I said, this is something which I cannot do. Although I stayed there for 18-20 months, which I'll talk about. But then I started looking into that maybe I should do MBA. And that's when Saurabh, who is my senior and co-founder, next door neighbor. He used to keep visiting. He was running a chain of spa, Four Fountain Spa, as an entrepreneur, and he used to stay at my place. We had our Hostel 3 reunion one day in Bangalore, and then me and Saurabh, we were driving back home late in night, 11:30, and I said, Saurabh, मैं सोच रहा हूँ मैं ना MBA कर लेता हूँ. I'll go for this IIM Ahmedabad 1-year executive program because it's already 6-7 years. Doesn't make sense to write CAT. बोलते MBA क्यों करना है? बोला यार I want to do something on my own. This is and by the way, my family, we are entrepreneurs. Like my dad has a business, grain merchant and all those things. So सौरभ बोलते हैं कि यार एक आइडिया है जो मैं बहुत टाइम से करना चाहता हूँ, which is on the real estate part. करेगा? मैं कहा चलो करते हैं. तो बोलते कल सुबह हम लोग डिस्कस करते हैं. Next day morning we sat in a small dosa shop. He proposed that this is something which is there. We need to build a tech platform. मैं कहा तो बहुत अमेजिंग है because I have realized when I got married, getting a house was a pain. Although I didn't pay brokerage, but I can resonate with the problem. तो बोलते कैसे करेंगे? मैंने कहा बॉस I'll build the platform. तो बोला टीम भी, मैंने कहा मैं खुद करता हूँ. मैंने B2B किया है, B2C मैंने किया भी नहीं है. It will be learning for me. मैंने कहा मैं बनाता हूँ. और सौरभ was running Four Fountain at that point of time. मैं कहा बनाते हैं, कुछ करते हैं, कुछ नहीं होगा तो सीख जाएंगे कुछ. और सौरभ इज लाइक एटर ऑप्टिमिस्टिक. वो है ना किसी को भी कुछ भी बेच सकते हैं. मतलब वो शांतनु को गंगा बेच देंगे. तो मैं कहा सौरभ चला नहीं तो बोलते हैं अबे फील्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर की और ज़्यादा वैल्यू होती है. मैं कहा हाँ यार ये बात भी सही है. तो दैट्स हाउ आई स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम we were planning a family. So my wife conceived, and so Bangalore mein we didn't wanted to have our first child, so she went back to Kota. So it was like August 2013 गणेश चतुर्थी पे जब हमने बुक लाई एक बड़ी सी स्वास्तिक बना के काम करना चालू कर दिया. And my wife went back home. January was due date. So I had that 6 months in front of me where I told my boss, Monday to Thursday I'll come to office, Friday I'll work from home. Friday, Saturday, Sunday I used to code. I used to just code for maybe 50-60 hours of 72 hours which was there. There was a company called Fasus, usse khana khata tha, and I did that for 6 months. And then my daughter was born on 14th of January and we were ready with the platform. On 1st of March 2014 we launched No Broker. And it was all, so to answer your question, it was all because I thought कि यार कुछ करना चाहिए. Then again, a lot of serendipity, as you said, because being at the right, see, effort, hard work, all those things happened. But I feel that the network and the connections which we make at the college, what we have done here, that has played an extremely critical role in what we have been able to do.
Fantastic. There are two more things other than the network that Akhil highlights in concluding. Getting H3, Hostel 3 reunion, Saurabh telling him to do, which of course serendipity and the network you build in your college, in IIT or any other college you might be in is invaluable. I think there are two other very interesting things or traits that I think reflect in this story reflect great entrepreneurs. One, listening skills. I think he clearly mentions that he joined a startup and he made something that no one was willing to use, which taught him, and I think Gajanan in the previous panel mentioned this as well, that it's not your idea. While yes, there is art in designing a product, entrepreneurship is not just being an artist or coming up with your idea and thinking it will change the world. It's about really going around, listening, observing, and then seeing, is there a connect? In the context of the society, is this relevant? And of course, Gajanan put another point to it, which is, can you scale it? Which is another important thing to think about. But at least in the product market fit stage, listening skills are very important. Yeah. And the second thing that Akhil says, I mean, clearly he says that, when his daughter was born, the product was ready. So here is a guy working in a nice, cushy job. His wife is pregnant, expecting a baby, and he decides to quit and start making a product. So you can think about, the risk appetite and the fact that entrepreneurs can be very uncomfortable in comfortable situations and very comfortable taking uncomfortable risks. So very, interesting traits and a lot to learn from Akhil. So what happened after that? B2C businesses are very hard. So you guys, of course, you had experienced the problem, so you knew this playing this humongous brokerage for finding a house was a problem, but they are a big community. They are an enthusiastic or aggressive community. So how did you deal with
I
that?
think two things happened. So we launched in March. I was still working with Oracle, and so we had put in. So we started putting in money from our pockets, whatever we had saved, and we said we'll put 500 rupees per day as a marketing budget, and we started seeing traction. Then we started meeting venture capitalists. Everybody was like, "Okay, great. This is a problem. We have also faced it." But why exactly something like this has not been done in US? Because I'm talking about 2014, when India was more about copying West than making in India and solving problem out of India. And we were like, यार problem है, आपको समझ में आ रहा है, why exactly you are not ready to fund it. Few of the people said, ये तो problem भी नहीं है, हमारा तो काम आराम से हो जाता है. And then we realized that this is not working out. And then we started aggressively investing in what we were doing. And this kept on going for almost 12-15 months. There was a time, one day, we knew that tomorrow we are getting 3 term sheets from 3 big funds, and we celebrated early also. Like, it was like, यार कल तो term sheet आई जाने वाली है. I don't drink. तो सौरभ ने बोला चल तू थोड़ा सा बियर भी पिला. And by that time we got Amit also on board. तो मैं कहा पी लेते हैं. Next day morning we woke up, opened ET, and there was an article saying that housing.com raises $90 million from SoftBank. And typically it used to happen on Wednesdays that we'll see the results and all. Then we called. So one of the investor didn't pick the call. One of them said, we think that a winner in real estate has been found because SoftBank has funded a company. And one guy said, we can invest in you if you change your name, because at some point of time you will have to work with brokers. So no broker nahi chalega, aur koi naam rakhoge to we can think about it. And we said, what bullshit, like this whole premises is that we don't want to have brokers on this particular thing. And then this was in August of 14 sorry. Then we said what to do. We again sat down, we started working, इसमें कुछ और बनाते हैं, we'll keep on doing it. Then eventually in December of 2014 is when Elevation Capital, which was called SAF Partners, they came on board, and we got our first round of funding in February 2015 after almost 15 months of bootstrapping. Then so that was another thing, like as Shantanu was saying, and in previous panel it was discussed that just building a product, just building a solution, that doesn't solve it. How exactly you take it to the customer, how exactly you scale it, how exactly you make money out of it. Because building a great technology which cannot generate revenue, which cannot build business, that's more like a research. And research to commercialization is a totally different ball game. We learned on that particular part. Then once we got funding, we started doing marketing. One fine day, as Shantanu was highlighting, so we took a small bungalow, because that is what we had read online, that garage से startup होता है, तो एक बंगलो ले लिया. कोई शॉप पैक नहीं है, कोई कमर्शियल बिजली का कनेक्शन नहीं है, उसी छोटे से घर के अंदर खूब सारे सर्वर वर्वर लगा दिए. एक दिन रात को सो रहे हैं तो वॉचमैन का फ़ोन आता है, सर सर्वर रूम में आग लग गई है. तो वो जाके हमने मिटिगेट किया. फिर one day we were standing in a balcony and we see 40-50 लोग आ रहे हैं. And this is one story which I have told so many times that अभी अब लोग मेरे friends भी ये बोलते हैं तुम्हारे पास एक ही चीज़ है बताने के लिए. But then some 40-50 brokers came, they attacked our office, they wanted to beat us, and they thought that they'll scare us and they'll be able to shut down no broker. So that also happened. Then we moved to a proper place and then started working from there.
Very interesting story. I've heard it many times. It's so, fearlessness, as you can see, within entrepreneurs. Not afraid that housing.com has been backed by SoftBank with $90 million. So it doesn't matter. We still believe in our idea. And if brokers want to come and scare us, it doesn't matter. We're going to still stay the path. So fearless belief in ideas. Akhil, so how difficult was it? Consumer businesses are very hard to build. It takes a lot of money to acquire customers and scale. So, how has the journey been? And maybe given the paucity of time, tell us a little bit about the journey and also tell us about what you're doing. How you kept the business tech native and didn't get sucked into building humongous amount of people, Salesforce, and then eventually, what you're doing with AI.
So one thing what we realized early was that our business is something where just burning money, putting billboards and doing marketing will not be able to bring in customers, because the native need of this particular business is somebody. मैं अगर आपको बोलूँगा कि यार ये घर पे मैं आपको 4,000 रुपये का डिस्काउंट दे देता हूँ, आप घर चेंज कर लो, आप घर नहीं चेंज करोगे. Only when there is a need it will happen. So we said we'll have to invest, and we realized that uh, we may not start getting revenue very early. Also, it will take time. It will take time because India is a very trust deficit country, correct? It's extremely hard to build trust from the customers, but once your customer trusts you, they are ready to give life to you. So we said हमें 2 से 3 साल लगेंगे for a customer to serve, and to acquire those customers at a very low cost. What we started doing some kind of a growth hacks. One of them was 2 LED boards which are put outside the society, outside the flats. We used to go click the pictures, then we brought in AI there. Picture से automatically phone number निकालो, अगर वो हमारे पास exist करता है तो उसको call मत करो, दूसरे बंदे को call करो, listing कर लो. And then value prop was extremely clear. We told owners कि आप no broker पे list करिए, आपको कोई पैसा नहीं देना है, अभी भी नहीं देना है. आपकी प्रॉपर्टी रेंट हो जाए, सेल हो जाए, तब भी आपको कोई पैसा नहीं देना है. Nobody says no to a free thing, correct? We got that particular thing. We brought in tenants. We said आपको broker नहीं मिलेगा, आपको डायरेक्ट ओनर से कनेक्ट कराएंगे, एंड यू डोंट हैव टू पे एनीथिंग इन स्टार्ट. एंड इफ यू हैव टू टेक सम सर्विसेज फ्रॉम अस व्हिच विल be like assistance in finding the house via our apps and the phone relationship manager, it will cost you 1,999 rupees, which was like 1/10 or 1/20th of the brokerage what somebody was paying. So people were more than happy to do that particular thing. And when we started doing it and we learned that as we grow this will become more and more intensive, what we started doing is early in 2015-16 only we started bringing in a lot of ML, which we call AI now and all, where like when owner is listing the property, we want pictures from them, correct? And when somebody is sending the pictures, how do I integrate WhatsApp so that somebody can just send the pictures on WhatsApp? It comes to us where we filter pictures which are only relevant to the properties by identifying objects in the pictures, upload it there, automatically activating the property as soon as owner has listed it, how exactly we should bring recommendation to the people. And then we realize that as we are serving these customers, our agents, our relationship managers who are like face of the company, they go and represent us. How do they speak to the customers? And that was happening on telephony. So we started building our AI solution which we called Convozen, where we said we will transcribe every single call. So we have not lost a single bit of data since 2014 when we have started. Every single call is there with us. We said we'll transcribe these so that these becomes machine readable, and once it is machine readable I can do a lot of magic using the softwares. So we started building that particular thing. Earlier we thought we'll take it from Google and Microsoft, but it was so expensive that the cost of transcription of those calls were expensive than the value of the calls which we do. Like 20 पैसे मिनट में आप कॉल करते हो, ट्रांसक्राइब करने में 1 रुपया 20 पैसा लग रहा था. We built those models. When we built it, we realized that this is phenomenal. Now I can get the insights by reading the calls, which can be as long as 10 to 15 minutes. But then I said that again we need people to read these calls. I know what exactly I need to find in these calls, which will be like there is a SOP to each call, what exactly call is being made for, whether agents are talking to that particular thing or not. So we started building a solution on top of it, which we called Convozen, which is nothing but Zen out of conversations. And conversations can be a call, it can be an email, it can be a chat conversation which is happening at real time. We know what exactly is happening. So now the magic which happens is let's say there is an owner and a tenant on the platform. We have connected them. They are speaking, they speak on the patch line. As you guys are speaking, real time transcription is happening behind the scenes. And a tenant says owner, सर आपकी प्रॉपर्टी अच्छी लग गई मुझे, आप बताइए कैसे क्लोज करना है. एंड ओनर सेज कि आज सुबह ही मैंने टोकन ले लिया है एंड दिस प्रॉपर्टी इज नो लॉन्गर अवेलेबल एंड ही हैज नॉट इन्फॉर्म्ड द नो ब्रोकर येट. एट दैट वेरी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम a signal goes back to our system and that property is removed from the platform. Similarly, if somebody says कि यार बॉस मैं घर ले लूँगा बट मैं देख के आया था पेंटिंग की ज़रूरत है, गंदा है, क्लीनिंग करना है, ओनर बोलता है ठीक है मैं आप रेडी हो, आप टोकन दे दो, मैं क्लीनिंग पेंटिंग करा दूंगा. That becomes a lead for us because we are into home services business also. So automatically you will start seeing an ad, or maybe you may receive a call from a relationship manager to whom you are talking that सर आपको क्लीनिंग और पेंटिंग कराना है, बताइए मैं आपको बंदा कब भेज सकता हूँ. So those are the kind of interventions which we are doing. And then when we build this, we realize this is so phenomenal and so cost effective that we spend it as a business. And now a lot of companies like Tata AIG, Echo, Lending Card, they have started using it, and we have started monetizing that software also.
I saw the demo of this before the launch of GPT, by the way.
Yeah.
And there was a conversation between a owner speaking in Marathi, the tenant speaking in Hindi, and Hindi, English, Marathi, and the transcription and the way all that unstructured conversation was, converted to structured data, outstanding. And that's why, we had a great product at hand. Maybe the last thing, Akhil, what advice do you have for students, aspiring entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs sitting in the audience?
See, from my journey, one thing which I can tell is like everything is possible, correct? With engineering, science, magic can happen. You just need to think about a problem. And problem has to be in India, though, there are so many problems that if we pick any problem which is paining us on the daily basis, and if we start to solve it, we can create great companies out of it. And to build those companies, the thing what you need is belief in yourself, perseverance, and wait for luck. Put in the hard work. Just put in the hard work, and I'm sure things will happen, serendipity will happen, and somebody will be there to push you and make it successful for you. That is what has worked for me.
Very positive note. Thank you, Akhil. Thanks.
Wonderful, gleaning insights into his journey, the challenges, and of course some very candid stories. Can we please have Aparna Anand on stage and present our panelists, Akhil and Shantanu, with a small token of appreciation.